Hey, YouTubers, how's it going? Just getting up, streamed up here, setting up the live chat here for you guys. Don't want to leave us any messages. I want to thank everyone for joining us in Trends in the Housing Market. Today is the 20th of May or 21st of May, depending what coast you're on, what continent you're on. And I want to thank everyone for joining me live here. And I got a good friend with me, Ian.
Hey, Mikey. Good to see you, buddy.
He watches my show. He's a good friend of mine, but he watches my show not because he's my friend, because he's interested in the housing market. And we're broadcasting live out of Merritt, BC, cowboy country. How do you like Merritt?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah, we've come up for the day from Vancouver. Having a beautiful day. Yeah, beautiful scenery, beautiful people.
Mm-hmm.
Can't grumble.
So he's having a good time. We had some good barbecue here, and it looks like it's going good. It's a long weekend, so I'm not expecting a lot of people to be watching the show today, which is fine. But the people usually watch the rebroadcast the next day. The rebroadcast gets several hundred up to several thousand views over months, because a lot of people like to backtrack on some of these articles that we read or what's happening in the housing market, because it's definitely a trend. It's definitely affecting the entire Commonwealth. It's definitely becoming a problem for the working poor. The working poor is suffering big time.
Totally.
So, okay, so hey, people are signing on. Thanks for joining us. Okay, let's start with. Somebody asked me very politely if I could share this. I'm gonna leave a link below. This seems like it's a very good. I'll leave a link for it. It's called "Building a Strong Middle Class Budget 2017." And it's long as hell, and it just goes into Canada at 150 years old, a story of people in progress, challenging of change, real change for Canadians, Canada's place in time of change. And I guess what this looks like to me is like they're going to be preparing people for a change, and Canada might be coming in for a big change. So Ian, you've been here. How long have you been living in Canada now? 10 years?
10 years as of 3 days ago.
So
yeah.
3 days ago, Ian had a 10-year anniversary here in Canada, living in Canada. In your opinion, how much has it changed in the last 3 years?
Oh, wow. Yeah, no, it's been huge. Even probably even pushing back even like the last 5 years, properties in my area like doubled in value. When we first moved from the UK, we went to some open houses, took a look around. Properties were very, very expensive compared to UK prices, and we thought, oh, these prices have got to come down. There's no way they can stay this high. Then fast forward another 5-6 years, everything has doubled and like still going super strong. So
you should have bought in 5 years ago.
If we had the money, we would have. But even at that point, prices were still comparative to UK. We were like, yeah, man, these are way too high. Something's got to correct. But it went.
The correction never happened.
No, it never happened. Went the
How
wrong
long
direction.
have we discussed this correction to happen?
Many years, man.
We've been talking for years about this correction to come, and it has never happened. And we are. I couldn't wait any longer. I just moved to where I am.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think I'm doing good here.
Oh, very good. Again, if most people had the opportunity, if they were able to move out like this, and,
yeah.
Again, you're good. You've got the other work coming in, so you can move wherever. Mm-hmm. Whereas a lot of us are sort of stuck where our job roles are. But again, even both my wife and I, working professionals, you can't afford anything in Vancouver, so eventually we're going to have to move a bit further out if things do not correct, and I don't see that coming anytime soon.
And it goes back to the Canadian brain drain. A lot of professionals and a lot of pros, people that are actually good at what they do, or very assets to society,
totally,
are leaving, and this is a problem. I know quite a few doctors that left. One family physician, a plastic surgeon, and the other guy was a medical lab type guy, technician.
Yeah, no, I know doctors as well. Can't afford in Vancouver, had to move out. Yeah,
doctors. So why we say doctors is because when I was a kid, my mom's like, I want you to grow up to be a doctor, because that's like the highest level of
salary. Yeah,
of salary,
you can do well. Yeah, live good.
And unfortunately, it's what's happening. You know what I'm saying? So we got some. Wow. housing crash in 2003. So we got some comments here. Stephen Plummer says, okay, so Jake Carter says, Schiller predicted?
Yeah, predicted the U.S.
The U.S. housing crash in 2003. At that time, people also said the correction never happened. Kind of symptom?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that is.
I agree. Seeing similar things happen in the Great Golden Horseshoe. And inventory on the market. Very few homes selling. So, like, that's what happened. Okay, now let's get to this, guys. Let's get to this this article. So what I want to do is I want to leave a link below to this. Somebody asked me if I could share this on my channel, and I will leave a link below. It's called Building a Strong Middle Class Budget 2017. Take a look over if you got some time, if you got nothing to do this long weekend and it's too hot to go outside. It's a very, very long, in-depth, and I'm thinking what it is to me it's like a way of preparing the people for something, for big change. And in the last, I don't know, 2 to 3 years, all I hear from politicians, from people in high levels of government, all they talk about is change. But I don't think Canada needed a change from the start. Do you think so?
No, just the housing price is the only thing. Otherwise, it's
No. But I'm saying, does Canada need a change? Does Canada need to change itself? I don't think it needs a change.
No, overall, it's a great place to be.
Because you weren't here 20 years ago.
No.
20 years ago, it was everything was affordable. The jobs were paying really well.
Yeah. Good work-life balance.
Yeah, good work-life balance. Weekends off, vacation pays, big vacation pays.
Yeah.
You know, some jobs were even bribing like 4 weeks vacation a year because they were hard to get good quality. And now it's dwindled to nothing, and salaries are being cut. I don't know if you noticed that, but
oh, totally, yeah.
It's gotten worse. So that's that. I'll leave a link below. For this article, it just goes on forever. So let's go to the next one. I had to put this one in. I'm sorry, guys, but this is really important. I know I talked about this a few weeks back, but this is very, very, very important that we discuss this. Average home price in Canada is up 19% from last year. Yep, average home price in Canada is up 19% from last year, people. Canadians, so that's 19% in a year. That's the average, right across.
Yeah. That's about 1/5. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. What can you put $1 million into besides real estate that would go up 19% in a year?
Oh man, nothing. Unless you're robbing banks or something, there's no way you
because
can make
you
on that,
put $1 million invested in. So if you put $1 million in and 19%, that's $190,000 return.
Yeah.
You can't get that in anything else but real estate.
Yeah, totally.
And that's what people are feeling like. It's the people that got in at the right time are rich on paper.
Yeah.
But mind you, a lot of them. A few articles ago, I was discussing. I don't know if you watched this article. I was reading how people are taking the equity in their homes and buying big cars, trucks, buying like second properties and buying this but they're buying a second property at the wrong time. They're not buying the second property when they bought the first property. You get me, right?
Yeah.
So they're taking all this equity.
And all this debt has to be paid off at some point.
Someone's got to clean up the mess, and I think it's the working poor that picks up the mess. Canadians saw real estate prices rapidly climb over the past year, according to the Canadian Real Estate Association. The average home is now $100,000 more expensive than it was just last year. Despite the massive climb across the country, most of the prices increases were seen around the Greater Toronto Area, the GTA, and the lower BC, while the rest of the country mostly saw prices move sideways. Composite prices are up. The average price of a home across Canada is rapidly increasing. Last month, the composite benchmark that is the price of a typical home in the country reached $606,000, a massive 19.6% increase from the same time last year. So, like I was telling Ian, I don't think there's nothing you could put your money in to give you 19% return.
No, not these days.
I think a high interest bank account's offering 0.5%.
It's about that, yeah.
Like, it's not even a percent. You know, do you remember, Ian, I don't know if you remember this, like maybe 8-9 years ago, maybe, when ING Direct was advertising, save your money, 5%.
Okay,
do you remember that?
I remember that, yeah.
So if you had $1 million in the bank, you get $45,000 a year on interest for 4.5%.
Yeah.
So So there's people here from Las Vegas here commenting here. Okay, guys, let's continue here. They have 600,000 10% increase. So a 5-year trend before this, the year was 5.43% to contrast. So it's almost at par with inflation, even though it should be 3 to 4%. To contrast, the U.S. having a scorching hot year too, and their prices are up only 6%. Look at this. So in comparison to the U.S., so this is 19.76 in Canada, and the U.S. is having a hot year, and it's only 6.
Mm-hmm.
What is 19.76? The sun?
Oh, that's crazy, yeah.
It's the sun.
It's far off, yeah.
It's the surface of the sun. It's crazy. So here it is. Here's a graph, people. You guys can see it on your screen there. Look at this. Canadian composite prices. So there's Vancouver Island, Lower Mainland, Fraser Valley. Regina's down there, eh? Regina. Look, you can still pick up something in Regina for under 300 large. Guelph. That's in Ontario, I think.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Toronto's way up there. Look at that. And then there's that's Toronto there. Sorry, what's this? Oh, Oakville. Sorry,
Ontario,
Oakville,
so,
Milton, yeah. Oakville, Milton, Toronto, and then you have your Ottawa, and then you have Montreal, Montcalm. Wow, you could buy a place for $1.64 in Montcalm, and then there's all. So this is top 3 areas, Toronto suburbs. So you guys are seeing what's happening here. The article is right here if you guys want to see it. It's through Better Dwelling. And someone says, who am I is waiting for it to go down. Who am I? If you're listening, where are you? Like, are you in Vegas? Are you waiting for housing to go down in Vegas?
I think he says, Vegas is his area, yeah.
He's in Nevada. So hopefully things. What about Reno? I know Reno's like a couple hours north. I think housing's still affordable in the Reno area. I think it's 4 hours north of Las Vegas.
You know what? I'm not sure.
Reno is the biggest. I'm in Orange County and want to buy. Oh, so you're in Orange County. Yeah, how is it in Orange County? I know it's out of control in Orange County. I know Orange County's through the roof. I know that area has been experiencing 20 to 30% price hikes in the last year alone in Orange County, yeah. Okay, so let's continue here to the next article. So this is what I was talking about when I was talking about underwriters putting garbage on the books. Underwriting, because it's the underwriter that ultimately approves a deal when it gets sent up from the lending area. So the lender does their job, takes the application, takes pulls the credit score, writes up the deal, what the deal's for, why is it for, what's the integrity of the house, what's the structure integrity, is the house going to outlast the mortgage? Because sometimes the mortgage might be longer than what the house could stand. It's happened before, right? Where the house won't stand long enough and the mortgage is longer, so you're paying for a house that's on the ground.
Okay.
So you got to look at that stuff. Now, why are the Vancouver mortgages rapidly deteriorating quality? Because it's junk on the books. They keep putting junk on the books to make their numbers, and this is horrible. Okay, so it's 7 hours. So from Las Vegas to Reno, it's 7 hours. Okay, thought it was less than that, but anyways. Vancouver's real estate rapid. So let's look at this. There's the city of Vancouver. It always looks better in a picture, eh? Doesn't it?
It always looks beautiful, yeah.
Yeah. Vancouver real estate may be showing signs of exhaustion, according to the Bank of Canada, the BOC, and the Ministry of Finance, MOF. Isn't that a music group, MOF?
Could be.
The quality of mortgages are showing increase in signs of quality deterioration. Of course. Over the past year, this trend has accelerated, leaving more homeowners vulnerable to financial ruins in the event of minor correction. Mm-hmm. So if you have a variable rate mortgage, guys, and I've been talking about variable rate mortgages forever. If you have a variable rate mortgage, go to your bank and say, hey, guys, you guys are the best. You got to have to help me out. I love you guys. Let's refinance. I'll even pay for the paperwork. You need to get a fixed rate so it doesn't move. If you have a variable rate and it goes up to 5 points, you're screwed. Your mortgage goes up several $100s depending on
Oh yeah, even like depending on how much you've borrowed, even if
so
it's a quarter of a percent.
Even if you borrowed 100 large and it goes up 5%, your payments per year will go up $5,000 a year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
okay.
And it's not 100 large you're borrowing. Most of these people are borrowing 800, 900 large. right? A dangerous combination for mortgages. High ratio mortgages combined with high loan to income ratios are dangerous in combination for homeowners. A high ratio mortgage is one where it's less than 20% is placed as a down payment. Good luck. Luckily, if it's 5%, and the owner has little as 5% equity in the home, chances of these mortgages are going underwater. I.e., owner ending up with negative equity in the home are already pretty high. Now, go back to the story I told you about the gentleman that messaged me on Facebook, and he told me that he watched my show last week. He found online a site that let him calculate his total debt service ratio. He went in and he put in all his expenses, his line of credit, his car payments, and he's in the lease. I don't know why he's in a lease and he doesn't own a company. It's such a... Then you have this bulk payment to pay after.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You have 4 years of payments, and then you still have 30 grand. Don't get into leases, people, unless you have a lawyer to look at it or an accountant to make sure a lease fits for you. But anyways, he's got leased vehicles. He's got all this stuff. He watched my show and said he found a TDS calculator online that was free. Did his numbers, and I told him to add. I said to you guys to add your cell phone bill, your car insurance, because that never gets included by the banks when they're trying to make you fit. Then you put down your what you spent on food per average, and he came up negative. So this guy...
Oh, dear.
So this guy, after he did everything, he's negative 110,000.
Not good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's negative 110. So he's underwater. So he has to sell his house 150K over asking just to walk away even.
Yeah.
That's the position people are in. This become more of an issue when paired with high loan income ratio, and that's the ratio size of the mortgage, the loan, and your gross annual salary income. So it's gross annual salary, gross. So it doesn't count because
not after taxes.
It's not after taxes, right? Gross salary income. The higher the loan to income ratio, the harder it is to keep up with the payments. This becomes doubly dangerous. Does that say doubly?
It does indeed.
It does indeed. Okay, doubly dangerous with even a slight market correction. So I can't think they worded a slight market correction. So I think what's happening is they're massaging and preparing the people who will end up defaulting to say, hey, we've been telling you this forever, but they didn't tell them this when they went to the bank.
Oh, of course not.
Like, they never told him when he went to the bank.
Yeah.
So they could get the damn deal on the books, and now it's garbage. And the deal's garbage. You know what I'm saying? And then that's what happens when banks don't have solid backing. This is what happens. It starts to collapse. Anyways, Ian, tell us the story. So, you've been looking for a house for how long?
Oh, well, probably last 2-3 years, sort of properly looking for something. And yeah, it's just prices are crazy. Probably last year we were getting very serious about it. Started looking, started putting in offers. But then started getting outbid. Started off being 50, 100, even up to 150,000 over asking. And even the offers we were putting in, we were like maxing out. And then you're getting, people coming in with 150,000 over asking for a property. So, yeah, there's no chance to get on board just yet. We'll probably will have to move further out of the city to make something work.
Okay, so this whole bidding thing, okay, you have a house in England?
England, yeah. And Ireland.
And Ireland.
Yeah.
So, have those houses increased in value?
They have, but nothing compared to out here. Again, people always say sell your houses back in the UK and Ireland and buy here, mortgage free, but that's not the case.
That's not the case.
It's not the case at all. They're not worth that much.
5 years or 8 years ago, people in the UK would sell and buy here free and clear.
I don't know. Might need to be a little bit longer than that because, when we first came over 10 years ago, in the Vancouver-area we were living in, average house price was 800,000. At that time, that would have been about £400,000. So yeah, no property, unless you were living in London, your property ain't going to be worth that back in the UK. So
okay.
So yeah, so it's...
And how frustrating is it? I know, I talked to you.
Very frustrating because again, when I used to visit Canada, you visit the big city, but as often staying out in the suburbs with their relatives, and of course the house prices in the suburbs were tiny. Again, compared to the UK, you're like, wow, we can get this for equivalent for UK prices. Then we never really thought about Vancouver being equivalent to London. Then we moved over, we got a rental house. Then when we started looking for property, it was like, whoa, these house prices are crazy.
And the thing is, it's not like you're looking at these beautiful, gracious mansions for that price.
No. Again, in my mind, $1 million house is like
Chuck Norris's house.
Chuck Norris's house. Yep.
Remember that house I showed you photos?
Yep, the multiple
so
houses
I had
of Chuck
to
Norris.
make him feel good after house searching, okay? So he went house searching. Do you remember this when we were in Vancouver?
I do.
He was house searching. So I said, why don't you have a seat? I'm going to show you Chuck Norris's house. And it was for sale. And it was, you could look it up on Google. You could just type Chuck Norris's house for sale. And Chuck Norris was selling his house for $1 million. And you remember that house, right?
Oh, unbelievable.
It was unbelievable. It was beyond anything. Okay.
And Chuck Norris lived there.
Yes.
Awesome.
And he was selling it fully furnished.
Yep.
The theater room, the gym, it's worth a lot of money. I think to furnish that house would be like $300,000, just the way he had it.
Oh, totally, yeah.
The bedrooms.
It was beautiful.
Yeah. So anyways, what he did was he ended up selling it for $898, just under $900,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, imagine... That's when you think of a house, you think of a house like that for $1 million.
It's a mansion, yeah.
Yeah. But $1 million house to me it's like $1 million house to me in my mind will always be $1 million house. Like, you know what I mean?
Totally.
Like,
oh yeah.
With columns and pillars and
swimming pool out
back and a 4-car garage. You know what I mean?
Oh,
right?
Totally.
But it's crazy. And then okay, so you understand, and then now where are you sitting right now?
Oh, we're just waiting. Everything's gone too crazy. It's again, we don't want to be getting into this sort of debt, the debt you're looking at.
Yeah, this
because again, if you buy in, once you've bought, once you've got that mortgage, that's your debt. You got to pay that off. And yeah, we don't really want to get into that right now. I want to wait and see what's going to happen because the prices are just so high. They're so out there.
So you're like me. Can I tell you how you're like me? I'll explain to you guys. You see, I have a lot of people commenting. And they're smart, and I'll tell you why they're smart. Because they're saying, I make $160K a year, and I'm not spending $1 million on a house. But a lot of people would look at that and say, but you could afford $1 million house if you make $160K a year. No, it's not that. The people that are not buying is because they want to own their house and pay it off, right?
Oh, if you can, yeah, totally. Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
See, when I'm thinking of buying a house, I'm thinking I'm going to pay this off and own it. I don't want to pay this. I don't want this. I don't want to be massaged into this whole way of thinking where you're just going to have to pay that forever until you die. And your kids will take over. You know what I'm saying?
And the problem is it's chasing after like all those payments, like chasing the dream. I've got one work colleague in particular wanted the house. Had a perfectly good duplex, but wanted the single family dwelling. Saw how the prices were going up. Wanted to ride that train. Jumped on just last year, at the end of last year, when houses were like still really really high. Huge mortgage. I think it's about $1 million mortgage. The property is not even in Vancouver; it's in Burnaby, so just outside of Vancouver.
Wow.
And then was telling me about $100,000 line of credit in order to do the place up. Like it's not, it's not a tear down, but it was like really old school inside. Need to do a lot of work to it. So you do the math on that, and then they all they're doing is making their payments. They can't go on vacation, can't do anything.
So they're house poor.
Yeah, house poor, and then
poor.
And then of course added on to that, they've got the brand new cars, 2 brand new cars. So you've got the car loans added on to that. So if there's any sort of price hike in terms of mortgage interest rates, or in general going up, man, that's going to be
if there's a correction like they're saying here. So let's keep reading here. Vancouver's risky mortgage, the BOC MOF data shows that the quality of high ratio to loans in Vancouver is quickly deteriorating. The fiscal year ending the third quarter of 2016 saw high ratio mortgages with the average loan to LTI higher than 350%. In more than 75% of the postal codes in the Vancouver.
Cool.
This, I know.
Unbelievable.
I know. This is an 11% increase from the period prior, which is very strong growth. Unfortunately, this isn't the good kind of growth. So, people aren't...
Loan to income 350%. Oh my goodness.
I know. It's just like people... think this is just normal.
You know what this reminds me of? So back 2006. So as in England, didn't think the move to Canada was going to come off. So decided, okay, time to buy a house. So I went, and there's just me at the time, wasn't married at the time. So I went to see the mortgage agent. So at that time, so back in '06 again, things were going really well in the economy in the UK. So in '06 they said to me, okay, well, we can give you 100% mortgage for this house. And I was like, well, no, I want to put money down. I want to start paying this thing off. And they said, well, no, if you've got good credit, we can give you 100% mortgage. You don't want to put anything down. Then they looked at my rating again and said, you've got very good credit rating. In fact, we can give you a 110% mortgage. And I was like, well, what's that? What are you talking about? They said, well, you're buying a new house. You need to furnish it. You need money to furnish it, right? So we give you the full mortgage. You put nothing down. We also give you 10% of that mortgage amount back again. So that's what I was being offered. Of course, I didn't take it. I put my 10% down. And then fast forward from 2006 when I bought the house to 2008. What happened in the UK?
Crash.
Huge crash.
I don't know if you guys remember the 2008 UK crash. And then?
So then prices, in Ireland, speaking for Ireland, prices had trebled. And then they crashed in 2008 right back to where they had been.
Are we talking about in Belfast?
Outside of Belfast. So more so out a little bit south of the city.
Okay.
So yeah, but still, yeah, it happens. It happened in the UK. I've seen it. So whether it's going to happen here or not, I don't know. I certainly hope so. To allow normal people to actually get on that market, as opposed to all this other money that's coming in, buying up these houses, and working professionals you can't afford to live. So
yeah, the 6-digit figure income are now no longer part of the 1%. They just can't afford it.
Yeah.
So let's continue here. This is a good article. The loan to income ratio is getting worse. These subprime loans are getting worse in Vancouver. 36% of postal codes saw the average loan-to-income ratio increase from the year prior. The V5X...
That's where I live.
Is that where you live?
I live V5X.
V5X, known to...
Humans, South Vancouver.
Oh, known to humans. What does that even mean?
Known to us, I guess. I don't know.
No,
they're running out of good words, I guess.
I thought I couldn't... I'm like, humans? Okay. Saw the largest increase. The ratio jumped from insignificant numbers to an average high rate loan-to-ratio income over 450%.
And that's my area, yeah. So when we first arrived, 800,000, now 1.6 is your average price there for your standard single-family dwelling. Nothing fancy about them whatsoever.
So the highest measure the BOC gives, only these other area codes scored this high. V4C, Delta Northeast, V5J, South Slope, and V6V.
Farmland
in Richmond. In the event of a correction, these areas will be impacted the most.
Oh, right. So I might be able to buy a house in my area.
Oh, you can buy a house in your area, yeah. So here it is, guys. Here's the high ratio mortgages with loan to income greater than 450%. Wow.
Toronto and Vancouver in trouble.
Oh, wow. So it's got it broken down for the last 3 years. Look at this. So you can still get into Halifax, technically.
Yeah, if you like that area.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that. You guys can look it up. It's in Better Dwelling. So let's head over to the East Coast to Toronto. So luxury sales are up 75% in April. Look at that.
That's nice.
Yeah. But the house looks big. It isn't that, you know what I mean? When you go in, it just, because when I went to see homes, like when we were looking for homes, this is like one of the bigger ones we saw, but it doesn't look big from the outside.
Yeah.
But when you walk through, how's my house when you walk through?
Oh, it's awesome. It just keeps going, yeah.
Rooms and rooms, right?
Yep.
He loves it, man. And I paid $260 for this thing.
Yeah, I might have to move to Merritt.
$260, but it's nice here.
Oh, it's a beautiful area for sure.
It's so nice. It's the cul-de-sac I'm in is so nice, and tell him who my neighbors are. Cops.
Oh, he's got law enforcement. You got firefighters. Two law enforcement, one firefighter, and the other guy works as something for the city, some alderman or something, or city council or something. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Toronto's wealthiest families are showing confidence in the real estate market. The Toronto Real Estate Board, TREB, states stats show that luxury sales are booming, while sales are down in general market. Sales of the most expensive homes in the city are actually up. See, that's okay. Those homes could go up. Like, I mean, if people want to bid and fight for these homes, go ahead, man. No, like, you know what I'm saying? Luxury real estate defined. So let's what's the definition? Let's see what it says. Luxury real estate defined. The definition of luxury real estate changes from agency to agency. There's affordable luxuries like an extra square footage and build quality, and that's not what we want. We're looking for is true luxury homes, not within the realm of affordability for normal households. But the average home is still out of the realm of affordability anyway.
Yeah,
so
totally.
to do this, we'll define luxury homes as over $2 million.
Okay.
$2 million, you get your bungalow in Vancouver.
Yeah, if you're lucky, you need to tear it down though.
Tear it down, yeah. A predefined category tree tracks. It's a simple definition, but a buyer spending at least 3 times the normal home price in Toronto isn't a paper millionaire. These are actual, factual, rich people that are often more in tune with the global economic trends, which is nice. Real estate over 2 million are up. So let's look at here this graph. Toronto real estate's sales over 2 million. Wow, look at that, eh?
Oh, jumping this year.
632, 616 sales. That's totally up from February. Oh, it's comparing the. I see what they're doing here. Oh wow, it is up. It's up big time. Luxury and increase. Part of total sales. Okay, let's get into the numbers here. Luxury sales represent an increasing number of total sales in the market. Units over 2 million are represented at 5.3% of all sales in April. Up 2.92, so it's up half last year. Meanwhile, the general market saw a decline of 3.75% for all sales. Typically, wealthier buyers set trends, not buck them, so it's worth keeping an eye on this segment of buyers. So it's the percentage sales of over 2 million. So it's just approaching 6%. Let's continue. I wanted to add this one in because a lot of it has to do with politics.
Oh, yeah. It's all political.
It's all political. And the government shouldn't be in this. It should, the banks, and then people are saying, Mike, if the government's not in there, the prices are going to go crazy. No. Guys, please hear me out. If the banks did their job and took proper applications, where's this money coming from? Why? We have to backtrack this money. Are you layering money? Are you laundering money? What are you doing? Then the house won't be sold in the first place.
Yep, for sure.
Then you wouldn't get to that point where the government needs to step in.
Yeah.
So if the banks actually did their job and start putting garbage on the books, then the governments won't have to step in. How Ontario's Liberals are worsening Toronto's housing crunch. It's no surprise there, eh? Ontario's Liberals are in the soup. If the pollster have it right, the party that gave us the e-health mess, the gas plant mess, and the, was that orange?
Yeah. No.
Orangey air ambulance mess, the electricity price fiasco. Oh, you remember that article I read lady year for you guys about the lady was paying $1,100 a month for electricity bill? Anyways, the electricity price fiasco, a half-baked liquor retailing reform, and oh yes, doubling of the provincial debt will suffer a richly deserved defeat in the election scheduled for next June. Nope. They had the schedule. They had the elections in BC. Who won?
Oh yeah, we're still the same.
Same. Yep, still the same.
Liberals, yeah.
Still the same. But in the meantime, they are leaving Ontarians 2 final gifts. Each promises to have a lasting impact on Toronto's worsening its already severe housing crunch. Guys, please, do you guys remember, and I know you guys remember this, when I kept saying once they put the new tax in Vancouver, they're going to move out east of Toronto and go south to Seattle? What happened? It's exactly what I said. Exactly what I said to the letter. It's on record. You can go find my videos from last year when that tax was announced. I said they're going to move east of Toronto and they're going to move south to Seattle. The investors are going to come in. But in the meantime, they are leaving Ontario's 2 big gifts. Each to housing. Okay. The first is rent control. Last month, Premier Kathleen Wayne extended Ontario's rent control system to covering buildings constructed after 1991. Judging by the experience of the past and the teachings of most economists, this is a bond to throw a wet blanket on the construction of new rental housing just when it needed it the most. The failure of judgment will be staggering in any other government for this one. It's perfect in character. The second is the
Abolition.
I thought it was an abortion. Abolition of the Ontario Municipal Board. The Wayne government announced this week that it was replacing the board with a much less powerful planning tribunal. This, too, threatens to discourage the construction of badly needed housing by the market. Making it easier for pandering local politicians to stand in the way of unpopular building projects. And it comes at the worst possible time when the prices are soaring and more residents are struggling to find an affordable place to live. The city badly needs to boost housing supply. Miss Wayne's double blow stands to have precisely the opposite effect. So, I don't know if you guys remember the article I read a few weeks back where people's rents were doubling and tripling. And literally, did you hear about that out east?
I did, yeah.
People's rent went up $1,000 a month.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So there's a long article. You could find it online. And it's bad news for Toronto. Thousands upon thousands of newcomers are coming to live in the city and its region. They need to live somewhere. Let's go back to the 99,900 empty units in the Toronto area.
You're ridiculous.
99,000. Multiply that by 3. What is that?
A lot.
300,000.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you got 300,000 people, and that's already 300 misplaced people.
Unbelievable, hey?
It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
Mia J is commenting saying anything but Kathleen Wayne next election, tax on tax on tax. But here's the funny part, and here's the sad part. If she runs, she will win. I don't know why. They could go and steal candy from a baby in a stroller and put it on camera on 5 different angles in 3 different languages, broadcast it to the world. They'll still win. And same thing that happened here in BC. The Liberals won.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were shocked after what? And I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry, Mia. I'm really sorry to tell you this. It's bad news, and it's going to happen. You're going to see it, and you're going to look at the TV, and you're going to say, what the F? And you'll probably use the full word, the F word, and it's not fire truck. You know, it's hard enough that the OMB in the background. Without it, the NMBY-ism has a new lease on life. Miss Wayne's parting gifts to Toronto will keep on giving for years to come. So if she doesn't run, the Liberal Party will still win. That's just how it works, and I don't know why. Household debt makes comeback in the U.S. was related to the last article I read. Remember if you were talking about. So here it is, guys. It's up several $1 trillion. And back to the topic I kind of pick at a lot because I have no education and I'm not educated. But student loans. Look at student loan debt. Auto loans. I knew student loan debt was going to pass personal debt. Not secured debt, like homes. I knew it was going to pass auto loans, credit cards, and all lines of credit and stuff. Nothing to do with housing. I knew it was going to surpass. I knew student loans were going to be a big problem. So here it is, a new milestone. A new milestone in household debt. In the first quarter of 2017, consumer debt rose 12.73 trillion, exceeding its peak in the third quarter of 2008. Student loans account for 10.6% of that total. 10% of that total student loans.
Yeah, it's crazy.
If you guys haven't seen it's on YouTube. It's called The Student Loan Conspiracy or Student Loan Conspiracy. Watch it. It's an hour and a half long. Please watch it. It discusses, it goes in depth, it understands, it gives you underlining things that are happening that a lot of people don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? And then it says here, student loans account for 10.6% of the total, up 3.3% in 2003, while housing's share, though still great, has fallen back to 2003 levels. Now, what it's saying here is that more people are buying into that. You want to get a better career? You want to get a promotion? Well, we got a student loan for you. Mm-hmm. What do you believe? Do you believe in that? What's your education? I know you're educated.
Yeah, I have a master's degree.
A master's in what? Don't tell me art.
No, master's in environmental health, bachelor of science, and master's of science. So got the undergraduate and the postgraduate.
Okay. So you have real education.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because a lot of people have these degrees, and then it's like, what do you do? What does that even mean? But it's okay. You're real. Like, you're the real deal, and you got a good job.
Yep.
So you're doing fine. So, did you pay off your student loans?
Yep.
Okay.
But it was different back in my day, as they say. Yeah.
Where'd you get your student loans from? London?
No, well, in Ireland, and it was very low percentage rate, and it was very limited how much you could borrow.
Okay.
I think the first year, I think the most I could borrow was £3,000 at that time, about $6,000.
Wow.
And then it was crazy when we came out here. Again, I did my master's degree, 2-year master's in Bristol in England.
Mm-hmm.
It cost me, I think it was £7,000 to do my master's, $14,000. And then I came out to Canada working in the same career, environmental health, spoke to the students here, and they were like, huge amounts of debt, huge,
hundreds.
Huge.
They're like 90, 80,000.
Yeah, one of my sort of girlfriends in work, I think it's about 60,000 or something crazy. And I was like, how the hell did you rack that up? It's
yeah. So, does the government in Ireland cover this, or is it a bank?
Yeah.
Was it the bank or the government?
No, it's probably. I think it's.
Did you go to the bank to get your loan?
No, it was all just done through university. Yeah, you apply. It's all done through the uni. So I'm not sure exactly who's doing the backing on it.
Because if it's federal, then the federal takes over and they collect the interest for the country.
Yeah.
If
to be honest, back then I didn't care. I was getting my money. If
it's the bank, then the bank fights competitively with rates to get your business.
Oh, okay.
You no,
I don't think it was the banks. They must have been governmental.
Okay, so Mia J says, I too have a worthless degree and don't work in my field of study, but have paid off my debt and didn't rack up that much. Good for you, Mia. Yeah, a lot of people get into, Steve the plumber says, expensive toilet paper. A lot of people have, there's a lot of people burning their degrees on YouTube. I'm watching videos like, this is my associates, this is my degree in law, this is my degree. Because we know 20,000 lawyers graduating every year in the U.S.
Oh, really? Wow.
And 8,000 lawyers graduating every year in Canada.
Wow.
What's the point?
Where are they going?
Yeah, where are they going? Yeah. It took nearly a decade, but the debt has made a comeback. Americans have now borrowed more money than they had at the height of the credit bubble in 2008.
Scary.
Red alerts. Just as the global financial system had begun to collapse. The Federal Reserve Bank of New York said Wednesday that the total of household debt in the United States has reached a new peak of 12.7 trillion household debt. That's huge. That's enormous. In the first 3 months of the year, another milestone in the long, slow recovery of the nation's economy. The growing debt level shows that many of the millions of Americans who struggled during the recession have sufficiently repaired their credit to qualify for loans. It also suggests a rising optimism about economic growth among banks and other lenders. So it takes 8 years to rehabilitate your credit after you go bankrupt, right? It's like 8 years, right?
Oh, I've no idea.
And then you can start applying for credit again, and then boom, you're back in this thing. Debt can fuel consumer spending, which is account for nearly 70% of all economic activity in the United States. Wow.
That's crazy.
It also allows Americans to make large investments in education and housing, which can help them build personal wealth and financial stability. Yet, the borrowing peak also signals a potential for new risks to the economy. One of the major factors behind the latest debt binge has been student loans. Yeah. Well, this article's from like a day ago. What, you just figure this out now? Student loan? Wait, it just came out of nowhere? A mounting burden that can stifle economic growth by preventing Americans from buying homes and spending on big-ticket consumer items. Yeah, of course. Getting a student loan like that, or like Steve the plumber said, an expensive
toilet paper.
Yeah. Like he said, basically you're getting the mortgage, but you're not getting the house.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting the mortgage, but you don't get the house. You're getting the Ferrari, but you don't get you're getting the payment, but you don't get the Ferrari. It's like, yeah. The fear of the blooming debt from student loans and from auto loans and credit cards could put many Americans back into a hole. prompting a new wave of defaults, much like the one that accompanied the mortgage meltdown a decade ago. It's been a decade now, eh? It's been 10 years since the big crash.
Yeah, we're nearly there. Yeah, 2008. Yeah. So 9 years.
This is not a market we should be super excited to get back to, said Heather Bosey, the executive director of chief economist at the Washington Center for what does that say? Equitable Growth, a liberal think tank. Okay, in the abstract of more debt signals optimism, but in reality, families are using debt as a mechanism to pay for things
their incomes
don't support. So you know what that means? Remember when we're talking about food? A majority of people are buying their food on credit.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Shouldn't be that way, yeah.
Yeah, because unfortunately, the food doesn't come from heaven, so it has to come from somewhere. So people are commenting here. So keep the comments going, people. So let's continue here. So this is a long article. It's a very long article. It's got some nice photos too.
What about other parts of the world? How are they doing?
We're going to get to them right now. So that's that right there. So household debt makes a comeback in the U.S. Watch out, people living in the United States. There's a fresh article from May 17th. Not that old. But it gets to the point, and it's basically... I don't know where if people in 2007 remember what happened back then. People just don't learn. And it's 10 years. I mean, it's not like it was 100 years ago.
It's sort of gone by fast, hasn't it?
It's like 10 years ago. Yeah. It's like it just happened. And people are going back into the same spending, same borrowing more than they need or could afford to pay back. Oh. So this is people very optimistic looking at this. After the boom, what Sydney can expect when the property party is over. It's been an eye-watering run. Okay, you were just in Sydney or Melbourne?
Sydney.
Okay, how expensive was it in Sydney?
Oh, it's like more than Vancouver. Yeah, it's way up there.
It's way up there.
Yeah.
It's way up there. How was it there? I mean...
Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful place. Like, again, similar to Vancouver, beautiful place, lots of nice stuff going on there, but you got to pay to live there. Mm-hmm. Super. Although I believe that the salaries there are more than here in Canada, but still, I think for the average person, normal housing is well out of reach.
Yeah. So basically, even if you have a good government job there, like I think you still couldn't. You have to be something like,
I don't know what.
Like you have to own a chain of pharmacies
or bank robber. Yeah, you need to be something to You
have to own something big. You know what I'm saying?
But it's all money coming from overseas coming in there as well.
No, you don't have to say bank robber. Just say bank executive.
Okay, bank executive.
Bank executive is better. The value of Sydney's median house has risen by a cool $503,000.
It's risen by that much?
Yeah.
Wow.
Since prices took off a year,
4.5
years ago, Dominant Group property data shows. Sorry, guys, my eyes are slightly blurry, and it's been a long day, and I drank a lot too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I drank a lot of beer.
It's been a fun day.
It's been a fun day. Okay, but there's a sense of boom. Days are numbered. Last month, investment bank UBS called the top of the housing market. Shane Oliver, an expert on the asset booms and busts, and the AMP's chief economist, thinks we've seen the peak momentum for Sydney's property prices. Guys, you know what? I don't think you're not going to see the peak anytime soon. The government needs to go in, because do you see when you were in Sydney 2 weeks ago? Did you see it more as a playground for millionaires now?
You know what? Because we were only there a very short period of time. We were just in there, just enjoying ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But again, and reading articles and stuff, that's what it sounds like. Again, a lot of these big cities, such as Vancouver, it's becoming that playground.
It's a playground.
It's the key place. So you're not cool if you don't have a house in Sydney, you don't have a house in Australia,
mm-hmm.
You don't have a house in all these other cool areas. But the rest of us, unfortunately, the normal people can't come to the party.
Mm-hmm. That begs a big question for the city. What should we expect after the boom? The best case scenario is for house prices to growth to a gradual ease.
Gradually ease back, yeah.
Into sustainable rate in line with the growth in wages.
But it's way past that. So.
You want to watch stand-up comedy? Or you want to read this article? I would rather read this article if I want to get a good laugh. You know what I'm saying?
That is the best case scenario.
Yeah, sure. But the problem is they're not. You see, the thing is, okay. Because the banks are not asking the proper questions. Okay, if an Australian proper wants to go in and buy a house in Sydney, it'd be impossible.
Oh, totally.
No. Not because he can't afford it. He's going to be asked a gazillion questions and there's going to be, where are you getting the money from this? But if an investor comes in, come sign here. They don't even ask him where the money came from. Once the government starts tackling these issues and starts getting into people's faces on what's happening, then this protects the Australian proper, because the Australian proper is the one that's losing right now. You know what I'm saying? Okay, so this is a funny article. This is really good. The inevitable pullback in the house prices is almost certain to have an economic spillover for Sydney. Housing is central part of the Australian economy, right? They're not producing, they're not exporting, and they're not. To build a good economy, a strong economy, you need exports. Mm-hmm. If you're not exporting, guess what?
What?
You're in trouble because you're using housing.
Yeah.
Housing is a central part of the Australian economy, and it's a big impact on the economic cycle. This is a big mistake. You remember what Venezuela did with their oil? 99% of the country's economy is on oil.
Oh.
Remember when oil tanked? People are eating animals in the zoo.
Oh my goodness.
Yes, that's how bad it is in Venezuela. There's riots on the street. It's on record.
Oh, wow.
You could watch it.
Oh dear.
So this is an article. I'm going to leave it below for you guys. We could read it. Here it is here if you want to read it. It's actually a funny one if you want to get entertained. The 6 things Australians blame for housing for high property prices according to survey. So let's scroll down to the survey here. So this is what Australians are blaming. Comment below and let me know what you think it is. So foreign investment is the biggest one. Overpopulation? No, it can't be overpopulation because there's too many empty homes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you didn't have 90, I think Australia, some of the major cities have 80 and 60,000 empty homes.
Oh, it's
so
nuts.
if that wasn't the case, then overpopulation. So I don't believe in overpopulation at all.
Okay.
Because there's people that are misplaced.
Yep.
Okay. Property investors, isn't that foreign investment?
Well, maybe it's not foreign. It's from within the country.
Highly doubt that. High transaction costs, yeah. Low interest rates.
Yep, allowing a lot of people to get in.
I think this should be number 2 or tied for first. Free money. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when they're giving, free money, 0%, get all the money you can. The working poor has to clean the mess.
Oh, totally.
When the party's over. Low supply for homes in sale? No. This shouldn't even be on the list. Because they have a lot of projects, lots of homes, lots of condos going up. But it takes you back around the other side of the coin of the 90,000 empty units. Mm-hmm. Yeah, or 100,000.
Big problem.
That's a huge problem. I don't know if you watched last week's show, but there's 200,000 empty homes in England.
Oh, really? It's
200,000
in England as well.
200,000 empty investment properties. 200,000. It's in last week's show.
Interesting.
Yep. Yeah. So I'm thinking, for me, if you guys want to comment below and let me know, I think it should low interest rate and foreign investing should be 1 and 2 together, and then I would say. Then maybe property investors, then high. This shouldn't even be here. Because when you have that many empty homes, it's not to. Given the restrictions for foreign buyers, he did not agree with that foreigners should take full blame, instead saying that they were a contributing factor. He agreed population growth and investment properties had made an impact, but said it was low interest rates that were the biggest contributing factors and allowed people to afford bigger mortgages, right? Buying into what they can't afford. The reality is that housing affordability crisis is mostly centered around Melbourne and Sydney. This has not been the normal cycle of growth in these cities. It has been extreme, he said. So, here's the article, guys, if you want to read it in full. This one's not too bad. Kind of goes into the... it's got a little video here, too. Yeah, I think it's HD too, if you want to watch it. Here we go. New Zealand. 40% chance of property bubble will burst in New Zealand. You were shocked when I told you New Zealand's experiencing this.
I didn't know they were in the mix as well.
Oh, any English-speaking country is in this right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. New Zealand's housing market has a 40% chance of going bust in the next 2 years, according to the global investment bank Goldman Sachs. I read this article last week, but it was from a different. I actually read it from one of the Goldman Sachs reports. In research note published this week, Goldman says that the New Zealand housing market is the most overvalued among the G10 group developing economies, Bloomberg reports.
So Vancouver's okay then.
For now.
Wow.
But
New Zealand's right up there.
Defines the housing prices have falling 5% or more after the adjustment for inflation. Bloomberg reports that Goldman looked at housing markets in the G10 countries, those with the 10 most traded currencies in the world, and finds that they are most elevated in small, open economies such as New Zealand, where house prices have rocketed in recent years. I really feel for the Kiwis. Laboring House spokesperson Phil Twyford said, a housing bust could be just as bad as skyrocketing prices. He said that the warning highlighted the consequences of 9 years of housing neglect by the government. So I think, once again, the government shouldn't be in this. It's not the government's fault. I think the banks should do their duty right at the start before it goes to the next level. And I have one here I want to show you guys. It's an interesting one. It was this home here. I think it looks like it needs a lot of work. It says here, sold of market 58 Johnston Street, Parkhurst, for a suburb record of $2.5 million. Suburb.
Yeah, it's not a $2.5 million house.
No, there's definitely. I don't see
I like the tree though.
I like the tree, but where's the helicopter pad?
Yeah, where's the pool?
Where's the pool?
Where's Chuck Norris?
Where's Chuck Norris? I am posting this because our team at Riverwood had broken their own suburb record by 400K. I think that deserves a special mention. When you on your own competition and constantly outdo you become the best you can be, and the client gets the buy the product. You also inspire others, and there is no greater feeling than the contribution.
So realtors are doing well, of course.
So realtors are doing well, yeah. But I just wanted to post this at the end of the show because I want you guys to see this. That's, there's a lot of people making a lot of money off this housing crisis, and there is a lot of people suffering from this right now. You know what I'm saying? So I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the show today, and I'll be on again next Wednesday. I'll be here next Wednesday again for Hump Day, Housing Hump Day. It's my man Ian, and Ian. So, what are you gonna do? So you thinking of moving out of town?
Oh, we'll have to. Yeah, we'll see what happens in the next year or so. But probably we're not going to be living in Vancouver. I don't foresee that. Renting in Vancouver is one thing, but as to home ownership, it's not going to happen in the city of Vancouver.
What if your rent skyrockets?
Oh well, we'll see. Yeah. I don't really know. If the rent did start to skyrocket, then yeah, it's going to have to be something drastic. Going to have to move right out of town and. But then you face, of course, with the big commutes into work, unless you decide to move your work elsewhere. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
Just open a business.
That would be nice.
We'll open a business together.
Yeah, we'll see how it all comes together.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Big hug. Have a happy, safe May long, and comment below, and I'll have this. This will be re-aired tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys, and don't forget the subscribe button.